Ramsey Campbell is considered to be the master of quiet horror. And to be honest, that's not my cup of tea. I'm much more into the loud horror. But let's talk about Scared Stiff. That's the Greek edition of it. That is a collection of erotic horror, and it's considered to be, the basis for the subgenre of sorts. And if you're expecting to read, a book you can read with one hand, it's not exactly that. It's quiet erotic horror. And there is a story that stuck with me while first reading it, and it's called Lilith. And maybe you'll understand why it stuck out with me, being, a little boy, yes, a little boy. I've got the heart of a little boy, alright? It's right there on my desk, like Robert Bloch. So yeah, it's about a guy called Palin who is, as he returns home from work in the bus, he notices a strange store, and there is something in the shop's window that grabs his attention. So he decides to go out and visit it, and he sees that it is doll on the shop window that is on a sexual companion. And yeah, he is shocked and he goes away, but he also notices the face of the shop owner, the face of a very beautiful woman, and he is stricken by her beauty. And of course, the other stuff in the shop are tarot cards and various equipment that are of more irreputable, equipment. And as he is watching in the shop window, one of the neighbors, an old man living next door, looks at him. No, not next door, on the opposite side of the road. He is watching him with disdain. You see, Palin is dating a woman from his job. He's an accountant, they're both accountants, and their relationship is not that great. He cannot rise to the occasion. Definitely things are not working quite well. Him and that woman, they're dating and they break up because it's complicated really. When they are in her place, he's not feeling comfortable enough to get it on, and he only can do that on his place, but not exactly. So yeah, finally they have an argument and they break up. And the very next day, Palin goes into the shop and he buys the doll because he says, okay, I just want a woman that I can do anything with, and he's fascinated by her, especially by the fact that her head is covered in newspaper. And he fantasizes that this underneath the newspaper, the wrappings, the doll has the face of the shop owner. The shop owner, of course, is she's in the dark. She seems to have a limp. She's walking strangely, and he cannot see her body. He only sees her face. But he buys the doll for a tenner because the woman asks him, "How much is it worth to you?" And he says a tenner, and she's disappointed. So he takes the doll home, and he's kind of creeped. He tears the wrappings away from her face, believing that it's the face of the shop owner, but it's not. The face is blank. So he is a bit hesitant to get physical with the doll, but he does, and he feels great about it. And it feels amazing that he has a woman he can do anything with, and he won't be disappointing him. He won't be, she won't have her period, or is unwilling to take to do a specific act or something. So he's very happy. But the next day he goes to the store and it's burned to the ground. And so he's like, he's surprised by that, but he feels bad because the shop owner got burned inside, but he's got the doll, and he imagines the shop owner's face on that doll. So yeah, to him it's still alive. Over time, he's getting obsessed with the doll. He starts seeing the doll as a human being, as a partner. He feels guilt about his relationship with it. So he does very standard boulder horror stuff. Here, the horror is very quiet yet, and he's like he used the war game, but he gave away his miniatures to his co-player because he doesn't have time to play with him on their war game. Instead, he is like getting on with the doll. He's feeling very guilty. He's unable to get the doll with him to his vacations, so they have a fight. He manages to have a fight with the doll, and throws it away. But the same night he wakes up and the doll is on his bed riding him, and that's where the story ends. And it's not definitive what's happening, because Ramsey Campbell is a master of quiet horror, and this story is quiet horror, and it's actually very interesting because it even gives you the key to unwrap it, what he was trying to say, because at some point Palin and his ex-girlfriend have a big fight, and she accuses him of you cannot get on with a real woman because you hate women and you see us as objects you want to fuck. And that's pretty much the sum of the story. And the dude is clearly smitten with the shop owner, but he goes for the doll because he cannot say no, and he gets very tied to it. And there is the whole mystical aspect because it's the shop of Lilith, and there is this enigmatic shop owner with a heart-shaped face and dark eyes and a smirk of sort that has really got the attention of our protagonist. And it's the way he buys the doll is very Mephistophelic. He gets a very tense relationship even with the doll, which can do nothing. So clearly there is something obviously wrong about him. But then again, there is this occult sense into everything in the story. So you're not sure if that doll is cursed or if it's just our protagonist being, what they didn't call a beta male. That book was published back in 1987, I believe. So yeah, it's way before incels were a thing, or maybe incels were not a thing, but there was no internet to have this term, But that story had stuck to me because it's about the complications of us men and how we sometimes perceive relationships. It actually touches upon a taboo topic, how sometimes we project what we desire on objects when it's not objects, or how we can be infatuated with items that are valueless, while there's some real stuff in our lives that we are not able to deal with. Where it gets into very deep psychological terms too. It's not just the occult part of it. It may be some occult thing and everything is happening as is, or it may be an allegory or something inside our protagonist's mind. So we're not sure about this, but this story, I think it's the best thing in this book. It's not exactly terrifying to me, at least, because I'm not the quiet horror guy, but it's really interesting, and I enjoyed reading it again and appreciate it for what it was and what it says. So yeah, in a way I can understand what, and I think most people, not just men, I believe a lot of women can understand where this story is coming from. It's not about gender exactly, it's about attitude. It's about trying to escape the complications through symbols, I guess, through substitutes of sorts. And I think that it succeeds in that way. So thank you for watching. You know the drill. Like, subscribe. See you tomorrow. Stay spooky. Bye bye.